We're probably never getting a third season of Hibike Euphonium. This is, however, for good reason, because Kyoto Animation is continuing the series in theatrical installments. We've gotten a few recap films and a spin-off in the form of Liz and the Bluebird, but at long last, the mainline story proceeds, picking up where it left off at the end of Season 2, in the form of Hibike Euphonium, Our Promise, A Brand New Day, where the cycle begins anew. Before continuing here, I want to note that as with Liz and the Bluebird, 11 Arts provided me a screener of this film in order to review it, and also sponsored a tweet of mine promoting their theatrical run of it, so thank you to them for that. And the next piece begins. That piece just happens to play at like twice the BPM of the last one, so strap in, folks. This film starts off with the beginning of Kumiko's second year at Kitauji, as the band once again prepares for the regionals, and goes through all the conflicts and tension involved in doing so. Now, the film climaxes with that regionals performance, and I'll remind you that that's the same story that was told over the entire course of Season 1. Yes, as you might expect given that fact, this movie moves fast. It introduces a cast of new first-year students and tries its damnedest to fit all of their arcs into the runtime here. This has come up in previous Kyoto Animation films, specifically A Silent Voice, where one of the only major complaints about the film was the fact that it hurt itself a bit by feeling obligated to give every character from the source material screen time. I totally get wanting to include every character the novels had for this story, but at the same time, there are necessarily ones whose arcs just don't get too much room to breathe, or enough time to land with much impact. At the same time, though, there's ways in which Our Promise's abridged length help contribute to what it's going for. The most fascinating element of the film is how cyclical things end up being. Once again, conflict arises over whether selection of the band's lineup will be based on skill as opposed to seniority. Members struggle with whether they should invest their time fully in the band or leave practice after the mandatory hours expire. The primary first-year character Kanade plays a similar role for Kumiko that Kumiko played to her own upperclassmen when she was a first-year herself. And throughout the entire film, we get flashbacks and running parallels to Asuka as Kumiko tries to fill her now-graduated senpai's shoes. This film is a composition built out of refrains from the pieces that have come before. And beyond being literally Dark Souls, this fact also means that Our Promise continues delivering on one of the franchise's central strengths, its incredible portrayal of band life. That atmosphere of a high school band where, even against the backdrop of momentous personal revelations and growth for you as an individual, the broader band as a group continues on largely as usual, experiencing the same struggles and tensions year to year, is brought to remarkable life by all these cyclical elements. It's similarly relatable to see characters voicing concerns about a potential regression in the band's ability, wondering if the new first-year students can make contributions that match that of last year's, and if those who graduated were too important to lose without taking a step backwards. There's a relevant concern about being able to match what they achieved last year in making it to the nationals in the first place, let alone about whether they can push beyond that and actually advance once they make it there. Personally, my high school band was stuck in a backslide all throughout my time there, receiving lower scores in each successive instance of our big yearly competition. Most of us, I think, felt that this was in large part because we were a class of strong freshmen, and successive generations failed to live up to that. But I can't write off entirely the idea that as we got into our later years, we were simply insufficient as upperclassmen. These nuanced dynamics are a big part of what drew me to the series originally, so seeing them intact here was a welcome moment. The big thing I must address before the end here is the state of the gay. Anyone who's seen the trailer for the film will know that there's a focus there on Shu and Kumiko and on a romance between them. To take you through the other couples, there's a few great Natsuki Yuko moments, and those first years who hugged and Liz are back, with some solid romantic tension here. But as for the big Kumire question, yeah, it's cast into doubt by this film. I will say, however, that perhaps the most interesting moment in the whole movie is a scene where Kumiko and Dana are chatting while washing out their mouthpieces, and someone watches that for a little bit before saying, "Aren't you two kind of close?" It's hilarious to me that it's actually unironically canon that both Kumiko and Dana appear to be gay for each other, not just for us as viewers, but from the perspective of someone within the context of the world they inhabit. The two of them do have their cute moments within the film, but you have been warned. If you, as I, are a diehard Hibike fan, and let's be real, 11 Arts reached out to me because it knows that a bunch of you are, then despite its stumbles, this film absolutely does what we fell in love with this franchise for doing in the first place, barring the specific case of ride-or-die Kumide shippers who will accept no male romantic interest. Liz was, I'm almost certain, the peak of this franchise for me, in large part because it was the peak of anime itself for me. But honestly, the fact that a series as somewhat niche as this is even getting to continue its story beyond season 2 at all is absurd when you think about it, and I'm happy that I got to see the story continue. If you're interested in seeing this film, you can follow the link to get tickets below. They've actually got a really robust lineup of showings. I was surprised by how many are there. Hibike's song continues to resonate with me, and I hope it does with you as well.
Pedantic got 2 videos out in 1 month? What? It's likelier than you think. It ended up being 2 film reviews here, coincidentally. But once I get back from Anime Expo here, I've got an interview video in the works, and then one about the nature of AniTube as a platform and a community. And then about a certain pastel-shaded meme from a certain twin-tailed pop star. So I hope you're excited for the upcoming slate of content there. As always, you can catch me on Twitch every weekday for some fun times, stay up to date by joining my Discord server, and help support me through either Ko-fi or Patreon. A huge thank you goes out to Chase Sutter, Lucas Holcomb, Randall Hudson, John Smith, Matt Marks, Gia Lee, Melody Heron Anderson, Rose Scott, Duarte, Okami Otaku, and everyone else supporting me on there already. Maybe someday with your support I can buy a teleprompter and not have to awkwardly look over at my computer monitor to read off my script for the outro here. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!